Okay, all right, so we are recording. So this is our Sunday night team huddle, and my name is Missy Hides, and I am your National Vice President. So good to see you on. And if you've got new teammates that you don't see that have hopped on yet, maybe just send them a quick reminder text. Sometimes we just need to help people create the habit of Sunday night team huddle, and also sometimes with time zone changes and things like that, it can get a little tricky at the beginning. But if you haven't yet, just go ahead and put in the chat where you are calling in from, because I think that's a really fun thing to see, just kind of where our larger team that we all are a part of are from. So I'm so excited to be sharing with you all tonight. This is obviously our last huddle for the month of October for 2019, as hard as that might be to believe. And we have 4.5 days really to give our very best. And I believe that our very best has the potential really as a collective team to produce a lot over these next 4.5 days. So there's a couple just reminders that I want to give you guys, and then I'm going to get into actually kind of a training that's almost like a teaching on goals. And so I'm excited to share that. But there, like I had mentioned on a live earlier this week, we have many tools to be using and utilizing. And so I just want to run through those quickly. There's free signups for the month of October. This is for PCs. They waive the $29 with a $150 product order. For consultants, they waive the $49 fee with a $500 product order. If you have someone who's ready to become a consultant and partner with you, and they don't necessarily want to spend the $500 in QV, they can just go ahead and do the $49 account. Okay, so you don't have to hold them off in any way if they don't want to do the free sign up. That's totally fine. We also have the sweatshirt incentive that I and your VP team is offering to you all. So it's 10 personal signups with those minimum QV requirements. So don't forget that that's on the line. The clean swap box. What are you all thinking about that? You can put that in the chat. Are you guys loving it? Have you had good responses from that? I think that it is absolutely something that can just be a great intro to people. It's something I've been taking to all the events that I've had this month, because it's just a really great way to show people kind of a sampling of our best nutrition and our best skincare. There have been requests in the MVP page for the box to continue on after this month, but I don't know if that's going to be something that home office is going to decide to do or not. We also have the brand new Biohydria line. We have the holiday line. There's lots of things that you guys can be leveraging with both of those product lines. The Biohydria line is a great line to integrate into the anti-aging line. So if you have someone who wants a lot of hydration, but then they also want the benefits of anti-aging, you can actually mix those two product lines for some great results. The holiday line, think of this as who can you be getting your gifts for? You all probably have holiday Christmas lists that you're going to be buying people gifts for. You have people that you know that want to do gift giving. You can kind of be their personal shopper. So just kind of get creative along those lines and really utilize that line, that holiday line, as best as you can. And then also just release the tote incentive, right? So if maybe you're feeling a little like me and like, oh my gosh, there are 97 things that we could be offering to anybody at any given time. And you might, you might feel a little bit of like, there's so many things. What do I offer people? Just really do your best to just offer what you think that person would love, or what you think they could be excited about, or just let them know, you know what, there are so many things, so many awesome things going on in Arbonne this month, and there's a lot of things I could offer for you. So I can tell you about all of them, or if you kind of let me know what you're looking for, I can just give some direction on that too, and just have that conversation with people, right? We talked about that last week, was just opening conversations and moving people kind of through um, being oblivious to identifying that they have a need. And then on top of that, we also have all of our awesome 350 plus products that we have. So there is no, there's just not a reason to not be reaching out to people, because then on top of all of that, we have the business opportunity, right? So I just really want to encourage you guys that this is really the time to lean in and to leverage all that we have. As an MVP, I get a sneak peek into what's coming for next month. And wow, like there's new products coming next month. There's new promotions coming next month. There's just more fun things. So if you're like, Arbonne just keeps killing it and bringing out with more and more and better, they're not slowing down. So they're just continuing that. But I want to really tell you that how you make November an awesome month is you finish October well and you finish it strong. I really want to ask you, no matter where you are this month, whether you are feeling like you're pacing and you're on track for where you want to be, or you feel like, oh my gosh, I am so far away, I can't even handle it. I just want to really encourage you to not next month it. Okay? Don't forgo these next 4.5 days and tell yourself next month, I'm going to get my stuff together next month. I'm going to really book my calendar next month. Just don't do that, because you will absolutely regret it. Do the best that you can over these next 4.5 days. Okay. So those were just kind of the housekeeping things that I wanted to talk about before we get into the training part for tonight. So as I was thinking about really where we are as a team, what really I think could best serve us as a team, really came from a chapter of a book I'm reading. If you are looking for a new book to start reading, because as you guys know, leaders are readers and leaders are learners. It's called The Miracle Equation, and it's by a guy named Hal Elrod. And the subtitle is Unwavering Faith Plus Extraordinary Effort Equals Miracles, right? So sometimes we wonder like, I'm just looking for my miracle in my business. And his whole premise of this book is that it comes with the combination. It is the result of unwavering faith and extraordinary effort. And so tonight what I want to talk about is goals and goal setting and why we have goals and the reason for goals. Because for those of you, you may or may not know this, I have been in Arbonne for 15 years. And one of the things that I love about goals is that they push us to reach for things that we maybe wouldn't before, right? But what I've also seen about goals is that goals can feel very defeating. And goals can feel like they're not serving us. And goals, I've actually seen when people don't reach their goals, it takes people out of their business. I had a gal years and years ago, and she wanted to promote to area manager in a certain amount of time. And she had only been in her business maybe 4 or 5 months at this point. And she went into qualification for area, but she didn't finish. And she just simply didn't finish in the month that she had set the goal to finish. And do you know what she did? She quit her business. She quit her business because she didn't hit a goal on a certain date. And now, it's like, it's just so heartbreaking because she hasn't been in my business for over a decade, but I just know what her potential was and what was possible for her. And so what I want to talk about tonight is really readjusting how we look at goals and the purpose of goals, okay? Because especially at this point of the month, and you can put this in the chat if you want, I think it's so good to have interaction in our chat box and just say like, my goals feel scary, or my goals feel daunting, or I feel totally on track with my goals, or whatever it is, because this is really, whether it's a goal for a given month, or maybe it's a goal you have right now for this season of your business and your life. Like, I want to be somewhere in my business by the end of this year. I want to be somewhere in my business by the Global Training Conference in April. You know, maybe you've got some of those things set out. And if you don't hit them in those months or those timelines, if we're not careful, those goals can actually start to work against us. Okay, so tonight's topic, if you're taking some notes or rewatching this, is about goals. So there's an awesome man, his name is Jim Rohn. It's R-O-H-N, Jim Rohn. You can look him up on YouTube. Almost anything that you are learning, have ever learned, have ever heard, whether it is from me, one of the books that you've read, someone like Rachel Hollis, to whoever, it funnels for the most part from this man. He was like the pioneer, the originator of personal development, of growth mindset, of all of these things. So there are endless videos on YouTube with him, and they're just gems. Like, they're just golden nuggets of videos that if you're ever feeling like, I just need to be encouraged, or I just need to get my mindset in the right place, or I just need some fresh perspective, YouTube Jim Rohn, and you will find so much good content. Okay, he's no longer living, but he just had a wealth of knowledge. And he says that the major reason for setting a goal is for what it makes you do in order to accomplish it. This will always be a far greater value than what you get in actually achieving the goal. So I want you to think about that, because there's many of you that are going for the promotion of becoming a VP in the next 6 months. There are many of you that want to become district managers. There's oodles of you that foresee that you can become an area manager in the next 90 to 120 days. But the greatest value of setting these goals, of becoming a national vice president, whatever, executive national vice president, the greatest value is the who you become in setting the goal, in the process of achieving that goal, in the process of growing towards that goal, okay? For most of us, myself included, and for a long time I had to really work through this, and this book actually is even just helping me revisit maybe some of these mindsets that I have, but we can believe that the goal is quote unquote accomplished when we hit the desired result. And so it's like, did you hit your goal for the month? Well, I hit my goal because I had X amount of sales that I wanted, or I hit my goal because I qualified for a promotion, or I hit my goal because we sponsored X amount of people, right? And we base our goal, whether it was achieved or not, by that desired result. And oftentimes when your goal starts to appear at some point in the month or in a season, right? Because what happens on October 1st? October 1st, everyone's belief is through the roof. Our goals are limitless. We put them on the table and we have full faith that we're going to hit them, right? And then what can happen? By the 5th or the 10th, we're kind of starting to like maybe dip down. And maybe they're not happening at the pace that we want, and maybe we're not having the activity that we thought that we would, and maybe people aren't responding to us, and we can start to go on a lull. And then around the 20th to the 25th, the goal can seem too far off. It can seem improbable. It can feel impossible. The goal of becoming a regional vice president for some of you right now might feel like that is going to take me forever. That's going to take so much work, or that's going to require too much time. And when we start to feel that way, what do? Most of us start to simply retreat. And we start to renegotiate, and we start to really reconsider whether that was actually our goal or not. And we just move back to being what I'm going to call quote unquote comfortable, which is not really comfortable. It's just our safe place where we don't put ourselves out there, where we don't declare these things that we might feel embarrassed by if they don't happen, right? And so tonight, what I want to do, I want to suggest to you as an individual, I want to suggest to us as a team, and also to us as a community, as we're inviting people in to be a part of what we are building, to start approaching how we set goals and how we look at goals in a new way. And that new way is actually going to remove the possibility of failure. So does anybody think that that sounds awesome? If you feel like I'm going to work for a goal and the possibility of failure is going to be taken off the table, would you feel freed up to go pursue these goals month after month after month if this idea of failing at your goals was taken off the table? Okay, so you can share that in the chat box. So reaching a goal, as in the tangible result of your goal. So think about whatever your goal is right now, whether it's a certain QV amount, whether it's a promotion, whether it's a qualification, whether it's a bonus, whatever your goal that you set on October 1st, not what you are now deciding is your goal, because you probably on some levels have renegotiated this goal, right? Because it's the 27th, but what did you set on October 1st? Think about that goal. And the tangible result of reaching that goal, of hitting that number, of crossing that line, it is actually, this is going to be super freeing. That is actually not the ultimate purpose, nor is it the most significant benefit of setting the goal. It's not the highest value. And in fact, in our new paradigm that I'm going to propose that we as a team, we as a community start adopting, is that whether you reach a goal is inconsequential to the true purpose of your goal's endgame. Okay? The real purpose of every goal you set in this business, for your relationships, with your finances, with your health, is to become. It's the becoming of who you are. It's the becoming of the type of person who can consistently set and achieve significant goals. The purpose of a goal, please hear me on this, is to develop in you the qualities and characteristics of a goal achiever. That's freeing. That's like good news because it is not the goal that is the be all end all, this number, this finish line. The goal is set so that you mature and grow and become someone who can achieve goals. It is who you become through the process that will serve you for the rest of your life and trumps any short-lived achievement. Because I'm here to tell you all, as a national vice president, it's a short-lived achievement, recognition, moment. The gals on the team that are regional vice presidents promoting to region, it was fun, but if you would ask them, it is not the end-all be-all of their life. They walked to the stage at GTC, they had their car party, and now they're like, who's next? Who can I help next? Who can I partner with next? And they're not at their end game because they became a regional vice president. I'm not at the end of my Arbonne game because I'm now a national vice president. That's not what any of this is about. But yet we can so take on that mindset when it comes to setting these goals, right? So I think that this is such a unique and different way to look at our goals that we set in this business. Think about if we as a team start approaching our goals with, yes, a definiteness of this is where I want to get to, this is the activity I'm committing to, this is the goal, but knowing that whether we achieve it or not, the greatest benefit is who we are becoming as we are growing into these goals. Does that make sense? Who you are becoming is always more important than what you are doing. But how quickly can we swap those two things, right? And we base our value, we base our worth, we base, is this month going well, based on what we've done or our quote unquote results versus on how we're growing as a person, how we're growing as a leader, how we're growing as a consultant, how we have push past things that 90 days ago would have like scared the bejeezers out of us, right? I mean, if you've been in Arbonne for 90 days, can you put in the chat box, like, I'm a different person. I'm doing things now that I would have never seen myself doing prior to Arbonne. I'm doing things now that I didn't feel comfortable doing 3 months ago. And it's not just in your Arbonne business, it spills over into every area of your life. I trained, or I taught, like I told you all last week, about in California, and I was teaching about when you elevate one discipline in your life, like going to bed on time so you can wake up at a certain time, it impacts all the other disciplines in your life. That's why when people do Arbonne 30 Days to Healthy Living, everything in their life gets better, because they're disciplining one area and it spills over into these other areas. Okay. So I want to read this concept. It was paraphrased from Jim Rohn, because he just says it so well. The purpose of setting a goal is not to hit the goal. The real purpose of setting a goal is to develop yourself into the type of person who can achieve your goals, regardless of whether you hit any particular one or not. Some goals you will reach, and some you won't. It is who you are becoming by giving it everything you have until the last moment, regardless of your results, that enables you to develop the mindset and behaviors that will help you achieve bigger and bigger goals for the rest of your life. Because you all, my heart, my vision in this business is not just to help you get to a certain level in Arbonne. My goal, my heart, my vision in this business is that I can do everything that I can to pour into the lives that I'm given the opportunity to touch, to help you be the greatest person that you can be on this side of eternity. That you walk in your fullness, that you walk in your greatest, that you walk in your highest potential. And Arbonne is like the sliver of that. Arbonne is the vehicle that gives us access to people in order to teach them this. So who you're becoming is always more important, like I said, than what you're doing. And yet we can quickly swap those things, right? And we can quickly kind of mishmash them up and get focused on the wrong things. Now, please hear me on this. It doesn't mean that when you see your goal right now is like, or at any point in your Arbonne business is like, oh, it's difficult, or oh, it's like, it feels scary and daunting. Or you might be feeling like it's in the realm of like improbable, like where you thought you would be at the end of 2019 and where you are right now seems like crossing the Grand Canyon, and you're like, I don't even know how that would actually be possible, right? If you're feeling that way, I do want to tell you, it's not okay to just give up. It's not okay to give up. And I will tell you that many consultants throughout Arbonne tonight are actually going to choose where they end up on Thursday night. Consciously or not, they're deciding tonight where they're going to end up on Thursday. They're deciding whether or not they're quitting their month tonight or not. They're going to either justify, excuse away next month, October, tonight, because it's Sunday night and we start things over on a week, and tomorrow's Monday. Most people get back into a routine. So people are deciding, again, it's very unconscious, it's very subconscious, whether or not they are going to finish well tonight. So when you see that the goal is far off, or it's difficult, or it feels impossible, it really isn't okay to give up. So we hold it with this value that achieving the goal is the who you're becoming and the characteristics that are going to come of that. But even when you feel like it's far off, it's not okay to quit, because all that quitting does is it reinforces the habit of being a quitter. And every time you quit, you get more comfortable quitting. And if you quit in your Arbonne business and you get comfortable with that, you're going to quit in other things, your nutrition, you're going to quit on relationships. You know, quitting is a habit that people develop. So it's not okay to give up and to quit. The author of this book, his name's Hal Elrod. And I love this because I have found this to be the same. When I was reading this one part of this chapter, I was like, I know you're not Narbonne, but you could be, because this is exactly what I see happen. But he said that he has found personally and with many of his colleagues that it literally took until the last possible moment for him to hit his goal. Their miracle came to fruition, listen to this, in the last week, on the last day, and even in the last hour. He goes on to say, I'm not sure exactly why this is, but it does seem to be consistent. And I have seen this, you all, time and time again in my experience, in my business, personally, and also with sideline consultants, with people within my own business, that we can like start close day and the number can seem like, I have no idea how this is going to happen. And we can even, like, I remember when Lori Huffman was completing Region, she showed up at Tara's house, and I think it was probably, and if Lori's on, I can't see it, it was close night, and I think she showed up at like 7, and like the gap of where her team was and where she needed to be seemed really big for her. And it was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to happen. And it all came together, and it came together, before midnight or 1 a.m. Time and time again, I have seen, and he also writes the same thing, he's seen that there is something, and he calls it the universe, you can call it God, you can call it whatever you want. It's this principle that seems to test us continuously to see how committed we are to achieving our goals. While most people give up along the way, only those who are committed to maintaining unwavering faith and who are willing to put forth extraordinary effort until the last possible moment get to see their miracle come to fruition. Those final moments are critical and were what brought him, and I can say this for myself, to another level of realizing what I could create in my life and in my business. And this part, this is why close night becomes so magical. Because it is not about what we actually even achieve on close night, but it's who we push ourselves to become in those final hours. I have had consultants over the years, whether they're new or maybe they're just not super committed to their business, and it's like they'll call me at like 5 p.m. Well, I'm just not going to hit my goal. And I'm like, we got 8 hours to go. And they're like, I know it. I've reached out to everybody. And guess what? They made the decision. But guess what? Those are not the people that are on this call tonight. Those are not the people who are setting goals and inviting people to become a part of this opportunity with us and showing them what's possible, okay? Because the characteristics that we develop when we pursue these goals, when we stay committed to the very end, when we realize that the who we're becoming is the most valuable part of goal setting, we start to develop characteristics like faith, which is the substance of things hoped for and not yet seen. There is substance to faith. There's a self-discipline that will come in your life. If you don't feel like you're a very disciplined person, then you have gotten a gift in this business with Arbonne, because it can, if you will let it, teach you to become a very disciplined person. I'm one of the most disciplined people I know, and I absolutely correlate it to this opportunity that I've been in for 15 years. This business, the characteristics of setting goals teaches you a work ethic. It teaches you resiliency to get knocked down and get back up again, right? And those things far outweigh any promotion or qualification or bonus that you're going to earn, okay? So the reaching of the goal doesn't define whether we've had a successful month or not. It is who we become as we pursue the goal that is the real winner for all of us. And so I really wanted to bring this to the table tonight because I believe that this could be like a game changer in a lot of ways, because when we feel like we're not winning, we can tend to shrink back. right? When we feel like, oh, these last 6 months or these last 12 months have not like gone how I wanted, we can tend to shrink back. But if we can start to look at the goals that we're setting as markers, as stair steps, as just doing the next right thing in the process of who we're becoming, it starts to make these goals much more meaningful, much more valuable to us, and much more freeing, right? We don't become a slave to the goal. We see that the goal is a slave, like the goal is there to serve us and serve us in the who that we're becoming. So that's what I wanted to bring to the table to you guys tonight. And I would love to just open it up for like discussion, to get your thoughts, your feedback, questions that you have, anything that resonated with you, anything that you're like, I don't know if I agree, like you can bring all that to the table. So if you guys want to unmute and anybody want to share, I haven't gotten a chance because I can't talk and read at the same time. So I might kind of read through the chat, but if somebody wants to unmute and just kind of share their thoughts, whether this was like helpful, this was freeing, this was like eye-opening, this is challenging for you, this is like conflicting for you, whatever that is, I'd love to hear it. So just go ahead and unmute because everybody is muted at this point. Don't be shy. You guys have some great comments here. They're long. I'm going to read them. But as soon as somebody unmutes, I want to listen to what you have to say.
I was trying to wait to see who was going to go, but I like the part where you were talking about how, because I feel like this has happened to me in my personal business a lot, where I had a goal and then it's like just crossing the finish line like you were talking about. But it wasn't that crossing it or not crossing it defined me, but like all the little habits and just how like things that I do differently or even speak differently now has all developed from just having the discipline to do it and to do more. And then I just like that, you know, when I became a district manager, it was just like, okay, yes, I've arrived. Like I said that in the comments, like, okay, yes, I've arrived as RVP. But I didn't think about it more than like 3 seconds before, like, okay, what's the new goal? Because I can't, and it wasn't that wasn't enough. It wasn't like that for me. It was just more of like, okay, how far can I push myself? Because I, you know, am not defined by the title. I'm not defined by the goal, if I reach it or not, but it's just how can I continue to grow? And I think, because I see like a lot of teachers and things, like you're like a lifelong learner in this process, and you're going to grow, and the struggles that you face, I think when you're hitting those goals, it's just like as leaders, if it's not a struggle, because I can tell you, like, going to RVP was not easy. You know, it sounds like, oh, 7 months, but those 7 months I just did more. But all I'm saying is that if it is not a struggle and you're not going to hit speed bumps, then it's not called life, and not everyone would do it. And so and I guess it's just, I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say here, but it's every time like you hit those little increment goals, it's just like you're reassuring, like, hey, one, yes, I can do it. And when I don't hit it, I still got up and I'm still trying. So I'm not being knocked down because I'm not hitting those goals. So, and the people, like you said, I liked how you're very blunt of those people that in your business, you know, and I did this for a long time, like, you know, like, okay, I'm waiting on them to hop on the call. They get to choose to hop on the call. They get to choose. And so, you know, the people who are in it, you see present, they show up to things, they do more. And those are the people that have decided that, hey, I'm going to do this regardless. And we always say in our bond, like, until I do it. Just because I know in 5 years, like we talk a lot about faith, like I can't see all the blessings that, you know, God has in store for me because of this business. And I think it's just so important that it's for all the things that we can't see yet and for all the roadblocks that we are going to hit. So I guess that's my 10 cents, not 2 cents.
You're awesome, Fallon. I love that. Yeah, I mean, we just don't know, and I think it's just reminding ourselves of, instead of, often goals are like, oh, I'm not there yet. It's how far I've come and how far I've grown and how different I am and all those things. So thank you for sharing. Who else wants to share? Don't be shy.
I can share real quick. I haven't thought all this through, but this was so liberating for me. I am a huge goal setter, and I'm someone that gets really tied to a number and to a goal. And I love it. I love setting goals and I love going for them. But I very quickly tie my worth and my value and my identity to those goals. And I also then attribute my potential success in the future of, if I hit this, then that means I will someday be this person. And so, Missy, I wrote down that statement, and it's just like, I can feel it, because just that the greatest benefit is who I am becoming. Not that goal, because I sit there and I visualize the number that I want, and I fixate on it, and I just get all, and it's such a relief of just, you know what, like, it's not about that number. Actually, at the end of the day, that's not what it is about. It's about this journey. And I know who I am today is radically different than who I was, 11 months ago when I started this. And one of the greatest gifts has been watching people on my team become radically different from when they started this business. And so, yeah, and it's not, and I don't hold them to this expectation of like, you've got to hit this number. No, that's not the blessing in this. The blessing is seeing who they are becoming. And so to give myself that grace too, and that like those goals will eventually happen as I'm growing and becoming the person that hits those goals, and maybe it's this month and maybe it's next month, but it's about the journey. And I'm going to stay committed to my goals, because that's who I am, and that's who I want our team to be, those people that stick with their goals. But I'm not going to tie my worth and my value and my potential to those goals. So thank you. That was a real big sigh of relief for me.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah. Mel and I are both, if any of you people are Enneagram people, I scratch the surface on Enneagram, but we're 3s, which means we're achievers, which means our default is that we tie our worth to our accomplishments. So it's very freeing. And I think too, just to that point of thinking about, and I think Melissa Bates, it's funny, you just commented in the chat about that. This is about who do I need to become in my disciplines, in my habits, in my routines, in my boldness, in my consistency to become a district manager, instead of just, I need to hit 6,000. Or who do I need to become in order to walk confidently in being an area manager? Because area managers are different than district managers, because they've created more consistency or more disciplines or more boldness or more influence, things like that. So, yeah, and it's such a journey, and it doesn't ever stop. So who else wants to share? I love hearing from you guys. So
I'll go real quick.
Awesome.
So for me, how this kind of resonates is the quitting aspect of everything. Sometimes for me, what tends to happen is if I don't hit a goal for long enough, it's really easy for me to get to this point in the month or even sooner. And it's easier to quit than to sit there and keep working, because if I don't hit the goal when I did the best I could, I feel more defeated. But I know that that's also a lie, because I know when you do have that mindset of I am doing the best that I can, then if you don't hit your goal, you can rest in that fact that you did do your best. And it's not about just getting to the goal. And so that's something that I have just dealt with, for probably a long time, but just something that I'm currently still working through. And also totally struggle with the whole tying my value and worth. That's why I put that in the chat, that like I'm learning that, you know, my title or my paycheck or just the type of leader I am doesn't like control my value or my worth or any of those things. So it's really looking at, I always forget to look at how far I've come and not where I'm trying to go all the time. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks, Edie. So good. I love that. And imagine how attractive this will be to people. If this is when we're presenting business and goals and accomplishments and achievements to them, it's tied to, this is all just in place because we want to partner with you to become your best version. Not, we want to partner with you so we can like make you feel bad every month about not hitting your goals, right? Like for so long, I don't know if you guys can resonate with this, but for so long, like I knew goals were important and necessary, but they felt so heavy. And so like that I was a slave to them instead of the goal serving me and serving what I was wanting to become. So does anybody else have something that they want to share?
Sure, I can share. I just climbed out of the dungeon of bedtime. So, but something kind of just came full circle for me. And it was just what you and Melissa were saying about like changing who you will become to get where you need to be. And when we were at GTC, that somehow was like kind of subconsciously in my mind, because I remember leaving and thinking, okay, I need to be more disciplined with my working out and with my eating and with my reading and just all these things that I thought of before I can become a VP. Like that was just in my mind. And us have seen like Fallon and you be super, and lots of people too, but just be super dedicated with your working out. And that kind of just like, like that's gotta be like, like it's not about like, that's not what Arbonne is about fitness. But it just kind of was subconsciously in my mind that that's what I need to do. So yeah, so it just kind of came full circle tonight too.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is really so true when you start. I think the reason why, and I will say I haven't been working out in quite a long time, but why that is an important component, no matter what that looks like for you, even if it's like for someone you're like, I don't really want to go work out, just the discipline of like walking 20 minutes a couple times. It's because the more you hone disciplines, like making your bed, like I've seen an MVP and she's put a challenge out to her team, and like their only like challenge from her is to make their bed every morning and like tag her in it and put it on like their Instagram feed, because making your bed is a discipline. And when we start to discipline the little things, and I see Alicia laughing because she's probably like, yes, this is a discipline I've taught all my kids for all these years, because Alicia is highly disciplined. But what you'll know about Alicia is she's highly disciplined in like multiple areas of her life. And you don't meet someone who's highly disciplined and they like are only disciplined in one area. They will be disciplined across the board, because when you elevate discipline in one area, it layers over into the other components of your life. And so fitness, I think, is a place where a lot of people can feel like they can get control on the discipline of a fitness routine and a fitness schedule. And then they realize like, okay, well, if I can go to the gym 3 times a week, then I can make my bed every morning. And if I can make my bed every morning, then I can drink as many ounces of water. And if I can drink as much ounces of water, then I can make 3 phone calls a day. And they build on each other. They work together. And so, yeah, it's a cool thing how that works. So awesome. Was there anybody else that would like to share before we hop off? If there's one more, let's have time for one more. No pressure, but I do love to hear from you all.
I'll share.
Awesome.
Here, this should be freeing for everyone. Like, I think I've probably made a goal every month since I've been in Arbonne, and I can honestly tell you I have never met my goal. And I'm not like, that's nothing to boast about, right? But I think it's just freeing for me to say it, partly because of what we're discussing tonight, but also because it helps me to be like, oh, well, I almost quit like 487 times my first month. And if I've still made a goal every month and I still believe that that's coming, then there is growth. And it is, I'm just using my very extreme example, which there's a lot of growing left to do, but obviously, but just to say that I see very clearly in my example, like how this is true. And we do become something in the reaching and the striving for our goals. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And that is thank you for sharing that, Christy, because it is so true. Like, the tendency for someone who hasn't reached a goal for a set amount of time is to just say, well, this isn't for me, or I'm going to quit setting goals and I'm just going to kind of like hobble along in my Arbonne business, but I'm not going to recommit every 30 days to at least an intentional goal. And so just that alone shows commitment, and it shows the growth that's happening in something, in someone. So I love that. So anyways, all right, well, this will, I will put the link up on the YouTube channel. So if you want to rewatch this again, if this kind of resonated with you, this is a great book, The Miracle Equation by Hal Elrod. And I'm not through it yet, but this was chapter 5. And it's funny, I was asking the Lord this morning for what to share. And this was the chapter I read, and I was like, this is it, because this is what's going to set us up to, I believe, run after these next 4.5 days freely and with joy and with an excitement, knowing that wherever we end, we individually and we as a community and we as a team are becoming the very best versions of ourselves, and what we are offering people and inviting them to become a part of is going to be such a blessing for them. And that's totally what I love and gets me pumped up about. So anyways, all right. Love you all so much. Have a great night.
Sorry,
yeah.
Can I celebrate something really fast?
Yeah.
While we were on this call, Kelsey Hines became a district manager.
Wow. That is so exciting.
We blew past it, actually.
Okay, Kelsey, unmute. Tell us how you feel now that you hit the goal.
Oh my gosh, it was actually, I was driving home from a work meeting from my full-time job while this all happened. But, oh, good. I was thinking it was going to come more down to the wire. So I'm really excited that I hit it with multiple days to spare.
That's awesome. Great job. Great job. So excited for you guys. So fun. So awesome. All right. Thanks everybody for sharing. Thanks for hopping on. Love you all so much. Have a great night.